you've learned from our past two sessions on discipleship. What insights have you learned about what it means to be a disciple or how to make disciples from our past few studies, right? So go ahead and let us know in chat. Just type a few of those in. Type a few of those in. A disciple is a student. Yes, indeed. Lead by example. Yes. Must serve. Yes. Service is critical. A commitment of love. Working to become teachers. Grace and peace. Ask questions. Yes. Only disciples can make disciples. You're a combination of a leader and a servant. You are also a teacher. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. These are amazing, amazing insights, and we're going to go deeper today. Okay? We're going to go deeper today. All right. Beautiful. Okay, so let's continue forth. Whoops. Share. All right, one moment, y'all. There we go. Share. All right, can you see the slides? All right, beautiful. So, for those of you who are new, we are in a ongoing study. We believe this could be a lifelong study on Christ. And we are studying the consciousness of Christ, the character of Christ, and the commandments of Christ. And as you know, one of his greatest commandments was to go and make disciples. And so we want to be very clear on what it means to be a disciple and to have the mind of Christ. So how do you be like Christ? Through consciousness, right? His knowing and his mindset. Then we know that we must also understand his character. That's his being and his heart. Christ always had compassion, right? And we call Christ a heart surgeon because that is where he knew the true change occurred. And then from there, we have commandments. Out of the consciousness and the character come following the commandments, which is his doing. He said, you will do even greater things than these. And this is where our action comes in, with our hands, where our feet go, and what we say with our mouth. And so this is what we are focused on. And as we do word studies here in the Christ-like Church, we know that disciple is a major, major word for us to understand and to embody so that we can actually live out what it means to be Christ-like. All right. And so, as we stated before, ask yourself, what are you? Are you an apostle? Right? There's a lot of apostles online, but based on what I've read in Revelation and what I've read in the Bible, there's really only 12 apostles. 13 if you take away Judas and add Barnabas, right? No other apostles outside of those, right? But online, there's all kinds of people calling themselves apostles. Then we have people who call themselves believers. Believing in what? What are you a believer of? Then we have people who say they are followers of Christ. Then we have people who say that I'm a saint or I'm a Christian. But when I look at what Christ said in the Gospels, he said, go make disciples. He didn't say make apostles. He didn't say make Christians. He didn't say make saints, right? He didn't say make believers. He didn't say make followers. He said follow me, but he didn't say make followers. Because ultimately what we know is that Christ calls us to follow in order to lead. And that this becomes a chain of events where we are creating a pyramid in a way, right? But the way Christ's pyramid operates, it doesn't operate from top down. It operates from bottom up, right? And so this is what we are seeking to do here at Christ-like Church in order to be in alignment with Yeshua's actual teaching. And we've been digging deep into the word disciple. We've looked at some videos, but we're going to finish our study today and we're going to go into Luke. I believe we finished at Luke. And so what I want you to do right now, we already went through this. You already given me some of your reminders and your insights and your divine downloads. So I want to get right into it so that we can chew on this spiritual meat, right? On this spiritual meat and take our time with it. And so we're going to start today in Luke 11:1 through 4. And it says, "And it came to pass that as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Lord, teach us to pray, as John also taught his disciples." And so when you read this in context, what is this teaching us about discipleship? What does this teach us about what a disciple is, how to be a great disciple, or how to disciple others? What does this teach us? And for those of you who don't know, I take notes as well, because we are in a study. This is not a sermon. This is not me preaching. This is us learning together. All right. What does this teach us about discipleship? One, it teaches us that a great discipler, somebody who makes disciples, creates space for what? Questions, right? Create space for questions. Janine, great. That you must have the humility to ask questions. Create space for questions. And when we look at the modern day church, is there a lot of space for questions? Very little space for questions in the way the modern day church is structured, right? And then we, yes, that a skill of a disciple is what? Learning how to pray. How to pray. And also that we are teachers. We are teachers. Okay? But what is Jesus doing? How is he teaching first? How is Jesus teaching first? How is he teaching first? Teaching first by what? Living and demonstrating. Not in a classroom setting, because what have we learned? We've learned that life is the classroom. You don't have to have an infrastructure of a classroom with seats and desks and things of that nature. Yeshua uses life as the classroom, right? So he is teaching by living, by demonstrating, and by example. And then once I do that, then I can go into a more traditional, here's how to do this. Come do this with me. So in a way, it's an apprenticeship, right? Follow me is like an apprenticeship. How many of you had an internship when you were younger? When you had an internship, you followed along somebody who was doing the work. You learned by observation, right? So we see that here. We see that here. Okay? And we know that this happens with our children as well. Now, let's jump down to Luke 12:1. In the meantime, when they were gathered together, an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode upon one another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. So wait a second. How many groups is Yeshua speaking to here? How many groups is Yeshua speaking to here? Let's see if you can see it. How many groups? There's a couple ways to look at it. He said to his disciples first, right? He's speaking to who? His disciples. He's speaking to the masses, and he's speaking to the Pharisees, right? And so what we know about a great teacher is that they can teach to people at different levels of understanding with one message. They can teach to the young person and the old person at the same time, or they are at least aware of the different audiences that are in the larger audience. And they have this skill set of being able to relate to all of them. Now, he had a priority here, and his priority was his disciples. And so a lot of these experiences, family, were not about the masses. While the masses' lives were touched, the masses were healed, what Yeshua was focusing on was actually his disciples. So that is like us taking our children out to volunteer. And while, yes, they volunteer and they give out sleeping bags and food to the homeless here in Atlanta, and that is a good work, we know that the priority is actually their growth and development. And that we get to use this classroom called life and all the people that are involved in this classroom and in this experience to work on the heart of this individual. You see how much love that is? This is not disregarding the homeless that we serve. This is not disregarding the other people, because we know that the service is doing good things. But a lot of the things and experiences that we create are really just for the development of this individual that's right in front of me. Are you getting that? Okay. And then the other thing that a great teacher does is they do what? They make you aware. They point things out. They point out boundaries. They point out traps on this path and on this journey. Okay? Point out traps. What to be aware of. Okay? Because if I'm younger in maturity in this spiritual walk than someone, I'm not going to be able to see deceit. I'm not going to be able to see Jezebel. I'm not going to be able to see hypocrisy because my eyes have not been trained to see those things. So yes, it is discernment. Thank you for that word, Everett. So I start pointing out things. It's almost like you're teaching your kid to cross the street. Look at this sign right here. You see these boundaries? You stay within these boundaries. You're pointing things out as they are learning for the first time. Are you getting this? Okay. Let's keep eating. Let's keep eating, y'all. Let's keep eating. All right. Luke 12:22. And he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body and what ye shall put on. Right? What is Yeshua teaching us here? What is Yeshua teaching? What is a disciple really? How does a disciple live? Thank you, Janine. Total dependence on God. Now, those in the world may not live lives that have total dependence on God. But those of us who are committed to being disciples, we have no worries because our dependence is solely on the creator of all. Right? So yes, total dependence on God in teaching faith. You see how the curriculum is unfolding? So when we talk about disciple study on Thursday nights, these are the things that we're going to be exploring. Because Yeshua gave us his sayings, but he didn't create a textbook. And so we have to piece these things together so we can understand what it actually means to be a disciple. Luke 14:26-27. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Oh my goodness. So back to what Pastor Tony Evans said at the beginning of the study, are all Christians disciples? Are all Christians disciples? The answer is no. Did Yeshua call us to be Christians? No. He called us to be disciples. Christian was a term that came later. Yeshua was very clear in his call for us to be disciples. Now, what is Yeshua saying here? Do you think this is hyperbole? You think this is exaggeration? What is the true message Yeshua is trying to communicate here? He's teaching them how to count the cost, to truly assess a situation before you say yes to it. Because if salvation gets framed as just confess that Jesus is your Lord and Savior and get in this water, oh, that's an easy yes. And you think that life is going to get easier after, when that is actually the initiation ritual to a harder life. It's a harder life from the standpoint of the world, but it is an easier life from the standpoint of spirituality. Because you shifted from reliance on yourself and other people to total reliance on God, who is almighty. So a true master that makes disciples will make you aware of the cost, so then you can actually choose. They won't mislead you or deceive you that the path is easy. I wish I could tell you that this path that we are about to embark on is an easy road, but it is the narrow road. And how many find the narrow road, family? How many find the narrow road? Few. Not too many. I want to be in that number. I want you to be in that number. This is what I believe will lead to the most fulfilling life for all of us. Okay? So, Yeshua gives clear requirements. And as a disciple, in verse 27, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just look at Yeshua on the cross? Are we supposed to wear crosses on our chains? What does verse 27 tell us to do? Pick up our own cross. Do you see anywhere where he said, come pick up my cross? No, he said, does not bear his cross, meaning that you have a cross that you were meant to bear. If you are not bearing your cross, then you are not a disciple. You cannot, it says you cannot be my disciple. And so when we talk about picking up your cross, what is that? What is a synonym for the word cross? Your cross is your purpose. It is the thing that you were created to do by God. Yeshua had a cross to bear, and his cross was heavy, and he had the muscle, not physically, spiritually, to bear that cross. In fact, he didn't have the muscle physically because he needed Simon the Cyrene to come help him carry that cross. But he had the muscle spiritually to walk that path. You may not think that you are equipped and have the strength to carry the cross that God has before you. You were looking up to Golgotha, which is the place of the skull. You were looking within your mind, within your temple, the vision that God has given you. And you're like, how can I ever achieve that? But know that it will not come from your intellect. It will not come from the physical might of your body. It will not come from your individual will. It will only come and be achievable when you plug in and tap into a source that is greater than you. Because he that is in me is greater than he that is in the world. The God that is in me, the Christ that is in me, is greater than the physical me that is in the world. This is what the call is. Stop relying on yourself. When you rely on yourself, there will be a glass ceiling. There will be a limit because the body and the mind are limited. The individual mind, not the one mind. So in order to do things that we thought were beyond our imagination, where you say, I can't believe that, we have to tap into something that is greater than what we can see. Because according to divine law, it is done unto you as you believe. So if I only believe I can reach here, then that is my truth. All right. Luke 14:33. So likewise, whoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple. You remember when Yeshua challenged the rich young ruler to give up all his possessions? That was not a universal call. Okay? Christ is not asking you to give up all that you own and have created and built. But what Christ will do, what God will do, is challenge you to give up anything that you were possessed by, anything you have attachment to. That is the very thing God will require you to release. Because if you have attachment to it, you've actually made it an idol in your life unknowingly. You might not call it an idol, but if you will not release it for God, then your value system is misaligned because you think that it is greater than God. You won't give up money for God when God says that I'm the one who gives you the ability to create wealth. Would you rather know how to be a millionaire or just have $1 million? If I just have $1 million, which is like many lottery ticket winners, they have $1 million, right? But there's so much fear and scarcity because they didn't create it themselves. What did Jay-Z say? Put me anywhere on God's green earth and I'll triple my worth. Meaning that you could take away everything from me, but because I know who I am, I could go recreate it. Not only who I am, but whose I am. This is why we have to be careful about what we put after the I am. When we truly know who we are, we just stand in the I am and we resist all temporary labels that come after I am. I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm broke, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm married, I'm divorced, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm black, I'm white. All these labels, they only relate to the physical experience. They're all temporary, meaning that they are not truly you. I am that I am. My spirit has the potentiality to be anything. But if I get too attached to, I'm a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer since I was 6 years old and now I'm the top lawyer at this firm. The moment that firm releases you or you did something wrong on a case or they try to squeeze you out and you're no longer a lawyer, you were driving drunk and they took your license from you, what happens to your identity then? So what Christ is saying here is that we as disciples have to release all worldly, physical attachments. Doesn't mean you can't have money, but if you get attached to money, then guess what? It will be required of you to release it. We have to have the right relationship to the thing. And sometimes we will be tested to see if we have the right relationship by being asked to release it. Or else, if we do not release it, if we hold too firmly onto it, guess what happens? It gets taken away from us. Okay? So release all worldly attachments and identities. Okay? Luke 16:1. And I'm going to have to pick up the speed a little bit, family. Breakfast has been good. Luke 16:1. And he said unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man which had a steward, and this same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. Right? So this is he's stepping into a parable here. And so we know that parables is a mechanism that is the primary mechanism that Yeshua uses to teach. And we've discussed why Yeshua taught in parables, because a parable forces you to engage in the listening and to find the meaning for yourself, not for someone to tell you what this means, but for you to find the meaning for yourself. So when you're listening to a parable, you are actively listening. You cannot passively listen to a parable and get it. And based on the depth of your listening, you will have deeper and deeper understandings. Whereas if I just give you facts, everybody hears the facts in the same way. But parables require you to engage and to think. Colonized Christianity does not encourage you to think for yourself. Parables do. Okay? So we know parables is a teaching tool that we must develop. And so when we get into the disciple study on Thursday nights, we will be doing pick up and preach sometimes, y'all. We're going to tell you to pick up and preach about the closest thing to you. All right? Because it's a skill set that we have to learn. Luke 17:1. Then he said unto his disciples, it is impossible, but the offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. So he's making his disciples aware of the hardship to come. He doesn't paint a false picture of reality just to get them through the door, only for them to have a rude awakening after, right? He's honest about the future. He's honest about the challenge. Okay. Luke 17:22, and he said unto his disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of those days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. So he's, again, warning them about the future. Luke 18:15, and they brought him unto also infants, that he would touch them. But when his disciples saw it, they rebuked him. So we've seen this several times where Yeshua is changing what the disciples give access to and what they reject. He's doing this intentionally, right? I don't know. I know why they would reject the one with the issue of bloods, because that was her being in a public space and touching others defiled them, and then they would have to go into a cleansing process. Why they were rejecting children, infants in this case, I do not know. But then they see infants as maybe too young, aren't able to get it, right? And then Yeshua says, that is the very being that is the greatest in the kingdom. In fact, you must be childlike. You must be childlike. And so Yeshua is always able to flip their value system in his discipleship. Luke 19:29. And it came to pass, when he come nigh to Bethphage and Bethany, at the mountain called the Mountain of Olives, he sent 2 of his disciples. So Yeshua, while he has the core 12, then 72, and then a greater contingent of disciples that he's building, he, one, sends them out in pairs. He sends them out in teams, because the kingdom is built how? In relationships. The kingdom is built in relationships. And he's choosing the 2 that he sends on that mission. Probably the 2 that disagree the most. He sends them on that mission. So why? So that they can create a bond. So that they can overlook the things that divided them for the sake of one singular mission. Okay? How many of you have ever made your kids work together when they were mad at each other? They had to get over their differences. How many ever had a teacher put you in a group, on a group project with the person they know you don't like? Why? Because the mission becomes greater than your personal beefs. So this is Yeshua being strategic. Every mission is not for all. Every mission is not for all. Luke 19:37, and when he came nigh, even now at the descent of the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works that they had seen. Okay? How many of you have honored all those that have discipled you? We must praise, not in a godly way, those that disciple us. You want to know what I did? Because oftentimes discipleship is for free. So you want to know what I did to my baseball coach, my youth baseball coach? I sent him a check. I sent him a check a few months ago. He crossed my heart, and I realized how much he had done for me without asking. And so I just mailed a check to his office. Memo, thank you. I couldn't pay you then. There's nothing I could do for you then in the relationship. You were my baseball coach and I was just a player. There was nothing much I could do for you then. But now I have an abundance, and you crossed my heart. You didn't ask for this, but I hope that this blesses you. I hope you are able to go on a vacation with your family. Do something, buy yourself something. This is a form of praise. Money is not the only form of praise, but that's what came to my heart when I read this scripture a few months ago. Okay? They're not asking for it. They don't need it, but it is a way to honor them, to say thank you. Sometimes all they need is a thank you. Because there are times where they've asked themselves, did all that effort and energy I put into them, did any of that really matter? There are times where they go to sleep like that. And you have to let them know that it did. Your presence in my life changed my life for the better. Okay? So it's not praise as in honoring them as a God. It's not that kind of praise. But it's saying thank you. Okay? Because most times when we engage in discipleship, it will not be a reciprocal relationship. Why? Because the person who is doing the discipling is actually seeking to serve and not be served. But when you get to a position of power and strength and overflow, do not forget all your teachers, all your coaches, all those who discipled you. Do not forget them, family. Okay? Luke 20:45. Then in the audience of all the people, he said unto his disciples, beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes and love greetings in the market, in the highest seats in the synagogue, and the chief room at the feast, which devours widows' houses, and make long prayers. The same shall receive greater damnation. So again, Yeshua speaking to a larger audience, right? But then he narrows in on his disciples and tells them what? Beware. Beware. John. Now we're moving into John. This beginning of the miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. Why? Because he's demonstrating. He's demonstrating. After this, he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days. So when you are discipling, those you are discipling essentially become what? They essentially become what? Family. You treat non-blood like family. You treat non-blood like family. Okay? John 2:17. And the disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. What does this tell us about being a great disciple? And his disciples remembered. This is when Yeshua overturns the tables in the temple. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. We must know the scriptures ourselves. They recalled the scripture. When Yeshua was being tempted by Satan at the beginning of his ministry, what did he use? What did he use? Every time Satan came with the scripture, Yeshua had the scripture that transcended that scripture. This is why we must study to show thyself approved. Okay? John 2:22. When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered, again, remembering, you see that twice, that he had said unto them that they believed the scripture and the word which Jesus had said. So we see remembering coming up here. So if I come to you on Tuesday, family, and you don't remember. So if you have dinner with somebody tonight and they say, oh, you were at church this morning, what did you learn? If you can't remember what you learned, 1, 2, 3 major points, then you are not committed to being a disciple. I told you this before. It's nice to go learn about things on YouTube and feel like you're making progress. But if you are watching YouTube without ever taking any notes, you are not enrolled in YouTube University. You are using YouTube as entertainment, not as education. If you've never sat down watching YouTube with a pen and the pad to take notes, then you are not really there to learn. Yes, the video said how to do this, but if you were really seeking to learn, you would have been taking notes so that you could what? Remember. I know I'm calling some people out right now. If you were watching this teaching, if you are in this study right now and you are not taking notes, then you have no intention of remembering. My lady, my soon-to-be wife, has her Bible out. She has her highlighter out. She has a notepad out. She is taking notes. She doesn't just say, oh, because I'm close to him, I'll get it. No, she is learning for herself right now. In fact, I'll be honest with you. She is my best student. That's actually why she's my wife. One of the major reasons why she's my wife, because she's my best student. And when you truly love someone, and Yeshua says, if you love me, keep my commandments, right? And when you truly love someone, you get a PhD in them. You get a master's degree in them. You start to study their ways, their habits, their nature, their patterns. You study them. You're not in love because you exchange flowers and you kiss. No, you are in love when you are seeking to study and master to truly understand someone's heart. Not make their heart flutter when you're seeking to understand their heart. Okay? So, we must remember and hold the posture of student. Okay? John 3:22. After these things came Jesus and his disciples into the land of Judea, and there he tarried with them and baptized. Now, there's debate of whether or not Jesus actually baptized or the disciples were the ones doing the baptizing. There's a couple different scriptures around that. But they are traveling together. They're doing life together, right? And so we know that we must break bread and spend quality time. If we talk about love languages in terms of discipleship, discipleship is quality time. Right? And tarrying means just hanging out. Tarrying just means hanging out. So it's not always the environment of, oh, we're trying to make something happen. Sometimes we are just kicking it, family. Just kick it. Just kick it. Kick up your shoes and relax your feet. Party. Yeah, we got to have some of that. Let's just hang out. I don't want to teach you nothing. I'm not trying to get you anywhere. I'm not trying to empower you. I just want you to come over and hang out. Y'all feel me on that? Just hang out. Because if I'm always trying to teach you, then I only know you in this particular realm. I don't get to know the other parts of you. Because when you walk into that building or into that door or into this Zoom, you are putting on your Christ-like church member disciple face. And I don't get to know about your humor. I don't get to know about your family. I don't get to know about your quirks. I don't get to know about any of that because we all come masked up. So we have to tarry together with no agenda. No agenda. Just kicking it. Okay? How many of y'all like that song? All right, moving forward. John 3:25, and there arose a question between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purifying. So remember, I put this here to remind you that Jesus wasn't the only one with disciples. John had disciples too, right? And again, they're engaging in questioning, right? They will call that the Socratic method. John 4:1-2. When therefore, oh, here we go. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples. This is very revealing. What does this reveal? The disciple, this is when I said disciples, only disciples can make disciples. This is it. Yeshua may have baptized his 12. But after that, the responsibility was on the 12 to go baptize others. When we did the feeding of the loaves, right? The feeding of the 5,000, Yeshua did not feed the 5,000. Yeshua multiplied the loaves. But what happened? He distributed it through his disciples. Okay? So only disciples can make disciples. Are you getting that? All right. John 4:8, for his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. If we were living in shared community, while we are virtual, in some one way to serve, he or she who is discipling you is to take care of their needs. You take care of their needs, not in a servitude way, not in a demeaning way, but so that they can stay focused on the mission. And there is no request or need that is too low. In fact, the lower the request, the greater it is. I need you to clean my white shoes. That's beneath me. The moment we get into the space of that's beneath me, then we've missed what this is all about. Remember, there was a woman who washed Yeshua's feet with her hair. So there's no request that is too low. And in fact, sometimes a low request is there to test your level of service. Okay? John 4:27. And upon this came his disciples and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, what seekest thou, or what talkest thou with her? So again, Yeshua, this is the woman at the well. Yeshua is challenging what they have denied and what they think deserves access. Because in this moment, the disciples, and we've seen this with children, we've seen this with other people, the disciples, what? Are still judgmental. And what are they judging by? Age, sickness, other religions. Yeshua is intentionally doing these things. Talking to an adulteress, breaking bread with sinners. You set apart does not mean Set apart means that my choices don't go in the way of the world, but that I can still be in the world. I'm supposed to be in the world, but not of it. So set apart doesn't mean that I'm over here and all the bad people are over there. Set apart means that I can actually be in the midst of the quote unquote bad people and actually bring my light to that space without that space influencing who I am and what I do. This is what set apart means. Set apart is when I can be a former alcoholic, even though they say you're one for your entire life. I can be a former alcoholic and I don't just have to not go to parties because there's eggnog there. I'm set apart now because I can go into that space, even though I had a past negative relationship with that substance. I can go back into that space and it not influence me. That's what it means to be set apart. Set apart is not, oh, all of us pure and righteous people, let's stay over here and let's stay away from those bad, negative people over there. All Jesus did was break bread with sinners. He said, I didn't come to call the righteous, I came to call the sinners. It's the sick who need a doctor. So he is challenging their judgment, and their judgment is coming from where? Their ojos, their eyes. So somebody who is a great discipler challenges your false perceptions and values. In fact, you don't know if you've recovered from alcohol until you're able to go back into an alcoholic environment. You don't know if you've recovered from that basketball injury until you get back on the court and start playing again. You think that you've been set apart and you're healed. Oh, I'm healed. I haven't been in a relationship in 10 years. I'm healed. No, you thought that set apart meant no interaction with anybody. You think you're healed because you aren't interacting with anybody. You're not sharing space or doing life with anybody. You won't know if you're healed until you're able to go back into a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship without being triggered. That's the only way you know if you're healed. Okay. John 4:31. In the meanwhile, his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that ye know not of. Therefore said the disciples to one another, hath any man brought him aught to eat? So what is Yeshua teaching here? A great discipler teaches you what is truly fulfilling. Also, how to fast. Not just from food. Not just from food. But from anything that the world seems to be attached to. John 6:3. And Jesus went up to the mountain and he sat with his disciples. We know that mountain means an elevation in consciousness. We're going into sacred spaces together. I'm bringing you on the journey. John 6:8-12. And one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said unto him, there is a lad here which hath 5 loaves. So this is, we've already done the multiplying of loaves from another story. Okay, we've already talked about that. So if you missed that, you'll have to check back. Okay, the past 2 studies. John 6:57-66. I'll go to verse 60. Many of therefore of disciples. This is where, okay, John 57. As the living Father has sent me, and I live by the Father, so he sent he that eateth me. He that eateth me. Okay, what? Eat you? What does that mean? Even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue, and he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, This is a hard saying, who can hear it? When Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, and said unto them, Doth this offend you? What if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? Right? And I'll just skip to verse 66. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. So don't be afraid of the hard teachings and losing people. Don't be afraid of sharing the hard truths and potentially losing people. I'll put it to you this way. Most of the colonized churches, their fear is of losing people. So they sugarcoat their messages so that they don't lose people. Yeshua had no fear of losing people. This is the call. This is the standard. This is the challenge. If you're not ready, that's okay. I have no judgment of you. Okay? I was taking some young men through a discipleship process, and when we got to the end, one didn't make it. One said he was not ready for baptism. No love lost. We learned a lot together, and I just had to accept it. I didn't see, and I don't see it as time wasted. I see it as a jelly jar where I loosen, a jelly jar top ever been stuck and you've been trying to twist it off and you can't twist it off, and the person walks in the kitchen, you say, hey, can you do this? And all of a sudden they come in the kitchen, boop, pops right off. Had I not loosened it, this person would not have been able to pop it off. So I don't care who pops off the lid. All I care about is that the lid gets popped off. And if I was able to loosen it, though I wasn't able to see it pop off, that's okay. I contributed to the process of that person being opened up. I may not be the one who officially baptizes him, but I was part of his baptism process. So when you lose people on this journey, you don't have to, it's not really a loss. They just didn't make it to the next rest stop with you. We were just on this 16-hour drive. They didn't make it to the next rest stop with you. That's all. You didn't lose them, though. They're still on the road. You may not know where they are on the road, but they're still on the road. And they'll get there when they get there. While I want this to be a beautiful caravan where all the people that we started with are all the people that we end with, I'm already aware because of my pastor giving me the truth of it, that many of the people who start with us will not end with us, and that's okay. Okay? But what people will not be able to say is that we didn't contribute to their journey. They won't be able to say that. You telling me I didn't move you 1 inch further? You telling me that my presence in your life didn't move you 1 mile closer to alignment with God? None of what you learned helped you at all? You won't be able to say that. And sometimes the people who talk about you the most are the people who you challenge because you saw something in them that they could not see in themselves. Right? And I'm telling you all now, you will be challenged here at this church. This is not Kumbaya church. This is Christ-like church. This is not Kumbaya church. This is Christ-like church. And if you look at the walk that Christ walked, if you think about the narrow road, if you think about bearing your cross, this is a challenging path, but it will be the most fruitful. You want rewards with ease? You want rewards with no sacrifice. That is not the path that Yeshua walked. I want the rewards that come with sacrifice, but I'm not doing it for the rewards. I'm doing it because I was called to do it this way. And Yeshua says that some of you will experience it now and in the afterlife. What portion we experience now and what portion we experience in the hereafter, I don't know. But I trust and have faith that that is how the game is set up and how it's supposed to be played. And you want to know something? I think the world is ready to be challenged. I think Christians are ready to be challenged. Because you want to know something? Today we have the highest numbers we've ever had. And people aren't running from this message. They're running to it. For those of you who are non-runners, have you ever wondered why people run marathons? You're like, why would you get up and just run 26 point something miles just for the heck of it? I'd rather be in my bed on Saturday morning. Have you ever wondered that? They're running to be challenged. They're running to test themselves, to push their limits. Then we can go into Ironmans. Then we can go into Tough Mudders. They're doing it to be challenged. Because when you're not challenged, when there's no weight on the bar, you don't grow. And people are starting to realize that I've been sitting in this pew for 5, 10, 20 years, and I actually haven't grown. My life is still the same. Right? John 7, and I'm going to have to push y'all. John 7, verse 3, his brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence and go thee into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. Let me see. After these things, Jesus walked to Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of the tabernacles was at hand. His brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou beest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou doest these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe him. Then Jesus said unto them, my time is not come for your time, but your time is always ready. What is Yeshua teaching here? Yeshua is teaching divine timing. You all think an appointed time. You think that I'm supposed to go now. I listen directly to the Father, and the Father tells me when to go. I don't go based on when the world tells me to go. I don't go where the world tells me to go. The world told you to go be a teacher, doctor, lawyer, engineer, etc., because those were the good jobs. That is not where God was telling you to go. So he's demonstrating trust here in God, despite what man thinks. John 8:31. Then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then ye are my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Very clear. If you continue in my word, right? So in order to continue in his word, I must first what? No. I must first know his word. Does it say if you continue in my word until I die on the cross? Do you see that in parentheses anywhere? Does it say if you continue in my word until I die on the cross in a few chapters, then you are my disciples indeed? Does it say that? No. If you continue in my word, if you continue in my teachings, if you continue to live the way I live, then you are my disciples indeed. Because not one jot or tittle shall pass away, right? Until heaven and earth shall be erased or omitted until heaven and earth pass away. We're still standing on earth. So colonized Christianity has told you everything happened at the cross. You're good to go. Just confess and get baptized. Yeshua said until heaven and earth pass away. Keep my commandments, keep my words, keep my sayings. So as long as we're still here, I'm going to do what Yeshua said, not what colonized Christianity has said. Or what somebody who had visions of Jesus said. John 9:2. And his disciples asked him, what? Creating safe space for questions to be asked. Saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents that were born blind? Yeshua ultimately says none of them have sinned. His disciples believed that everybody had sinned in some way. He said none of them have sinned. You think that this situation has happened because these parents or this young man did something wrong. That is not how it works. That's what you've been taught, but that's not how it works. Okay? You know, back in that time, there are some people who believe that, oh, if we had a drought, it's because we did something. Somebody in this community did something against God. That's a false correlation. Sometimes there are just droughts. Droughts are sometimes part of the pattern and the rhythm of life. And that drought might be there for you to form a even more tight-knit community. We were up in Iowa, man. We were up in Iowa. Small towns with little main streets. And when you would go into restaurants and diners, everybody would know each other's name. And I realized, family, that the kingdom, it probably doesn't happen in a mega church. I'm not against size. I'm not against magnitude. But I saw the kingdom amongst these old people, these elders. Whitney's grandfather being 93 years old and being a widow at that. People bringing him food, caring for him, calling on him, checking in on him. Everybody knowing each other's name. Being picked up, a friends group over here, pizza night over here. I saw the kingdom at work in a small, tight-knit community. Now, do I wish we could do that at scale amongst 8 billion people? Yes, I pray for that. I think that's what Yeshua desires. But I saw it in practice in a tight-knit community. So, getting back on track, I was saying that a drought is not always connected to somebody doing something negative. Sometimes a drought is just a drought. It is part of the rhythm of nature, sometimes, some seasons. And that drought may actually be there to force that community to get stronger, to rely on each other, for those with excess and abundance who have wells of water to share with those who don't. We don't know why these things unfold in the way they do. And we're not supposed to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, starting to label that thing as bad or good because we don't know. Only God, from a God's eye view, knows if something is good or bad. But when we eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we start labeling things as bad or as good. And we actually don't know. Oh, you won the lottery. That's good. You don't know that that led to that person's destruction. Oh, you broke your leg. That's bad. You don't know that that prevented them from having to go to war. You don't know what is good or bad. And so we as human beings have to withhold judgment and our false cause and effect correlations until we truly understand the nature and the reality of how God works. Because this scripture challenges, Yeshua is basically saying that you don't get it. That all things are working together for your good. All things. Not some things. All things are working together for your good. Okay. And Yeshua goes on to say that this happened to this young man so that God could be glorified. Right? John 9:25. Actually, we'll go to 27. He answered them, saying, I've told you already, and ye did not hear. Wherefore would you hear it again? Will you also be his disciples? Then they reviled him and said, Thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. Right? So many people have different disciples, and we know that God spake unto Moses. As for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. So this is actually not Jesus speaking. This is a man who he healed. Okay. John 11:54. Jesus therefore walked no more openly amongst the Jews, but went thence unto a country near to the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples, again taking them on the journey, life being the classroom. John 12:4. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Jesus then in this instance reframes and he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bare what was put therein. Then said Jesus, Let her alone. Against the day of my burying hath she kept this. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. So what is Yeshua teaching here? He's reorienting values. He's able to see and know the hearts of those who are following them. And he's also calling for presence. That it's about this moment. She is doing a good thing in this moment. There is no reason why your heart should look negatively upon this generous and so I'm going to put it very simply. Okay. This was a heart check. When you are discipling people, you have to check their hearts in moments, lovingly. For the men here, and actually, I don't think that's the right thing, but let's say for the men, I'll just use, or just say a friend group. You find that one of your friends is cheating, and you say nothing. You miss an opportunity to heart check. You find friend is lying. That is an opportunity to heart check. But you heart check not with a spear, you heart check with love. So you heart check with love. Okay? Raise your hand. Type me if you know you've missed opportunities to heart check because you didn't want to be looked at as self-righteous. You just like, oh no, I'm just let them be. They can do what they do. You know what those moments are, right? You've been in those moments where you know you should have said something, but perhaps you didn't know how to say it. These are the kind of things we're going to discuss in disciple study. How do you actually heart check in a loving way? This is how we help those around us. I'll give you a heart check for me. My friend did it in such a beautiful way. When I was younger, I was not good with my hygiene. And I probably had not been good with my hygiene in college for a year or so. And then a friend of mine, he actually heart checked me. He said, how did he say it? He said, I don't remember exactly how he said it. But of all the friends that I had, all the people who might have been aware that I wasn't the best didn't say anything. He was able to do it. But why? Because he had done life with me. It wasn't just a random friend. It was somebody who had done life with me, who I had built trust with. And he said, you could do better here. And at first it hurt because it can look and feel like an attack in the moment. But in reality, I am grateful that somebody had the courage, and that's what it takes to do a heart check. Somebody had the courage to just say that. Being real transparent here. The courage. And I'm grateful. Okay? So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. All right? How many of you have been heart checked before? Type me if you've been heart checked before. What's the first feeling that you have when you get heart checked? What's the first feeling? Embarrassed, offended, regret. And then when you get on the shame, good. So embarrassed, offended, ashamed. And then once you get on the other side of the mountain, how do you feel? When you get on the other side of the mountain, how do you feel? Loved, cared for, thankful, relieved, grateful. Okay? You get to be that for other people. But it's not just, I'm just coming in and heart checking you. It's no, I've shown you my heart first. You know that my heart cares for your heart. And now I can point this out or point that out. There's pre-work that is required. Does that make sense? There's pre-work that is required. Battery died. All right. Moving forward. John 12:16. These things understood not his disciples at first. But when Jesus was glorified, then remembered they that these things were written of him and that they had done these things unto him. All right. So I don't know if you know, but throughout the Gospels, Yeshua's disciples do not get his teachings right away. So what did he have to have? As a discipler, you have to have patience. But not only patience, you have to have creativity to try to explain it in another way. Some of Yeshua's parables are teaching the same thing in different ways. How many examples of the kingdom did Yeshua give? I think there's over 13 examples of the kingdom of heaven is like, because he's trying to explain the same thing in different ways. It's like a pearl. It's like a seed. It's like this. It's like that. It's like a fisherman. It's like a farmer. It's like this. So you have to have patience that they don't understand and then not give up on them and try to find another way. That requires creativity. You don't have patience and then just come back with the same message. You have patience and say, okay, based on who I know this person to be, what if I give them a parable about sports? What if I give them a parable about food? What if I give them a parable about farming? What if I give them a dating metaphor? You understand? Same message delivered in different ways. Okay? This is our work. John 13:5. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet. Oh my goodness. What does this teach us, family? What does this teach us? This is not a hierarchy going down. It's not a pyramid going down. It is a pyramid going up. He that is greatest among you is he that serves, or he that serves is the greatest. Even though it's weird, even though physically people might be looking up to you, spiritually you're looking up to them. You are at their feet, washing what? Feet represent what? Feet represent what? Let's see if anybody remembers. Feet represent your understanding. So when I'm washing your feet, I'm washing and cleansing your understanding. This is the symbolism here. And I will lower myself. Watch this. I will lower myself from my higher understanding down to your feet to wash your understanding. Okay? That is discipler. I'm lowering myself from my higher understanding to come down to wash your lower understanding. Watch this though. Watch this. When we are, that's a great discipler. Okay? Now, a great disciple does what? A great disciple puts their head, like the woman who washed Yeshua's feet with her hair, a great disciple puts their head, which is their highest understanding, at the feet of their master. I display humility by putting my head, which is my highest understanding, at your feet. Y'all get that? This is opposite of how the world works. This is opposite of how the world works. Okay? So let's keep pushing. John 13:34. A new commandment I give you, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Right? That great discipler is an example. Right? Great disciple follows that example. That ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love for one another. Family, if we don't have love for one another, then we are not Yeshua's disciples. We can call ourselves disciples, but if we do not demonstrate love for one another, then we are missing the mark. Okay? John 15:8. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so ye shall also be my disciples. We must bear fruit. You will know them by their fruit. Talk is cheap. They must show proof. The tongue can twist, but it can't twist truth. Your words must match what you do. We must bear fruit. People should be able to see the fruit from our lives and be able to eat from that fruit. We do not want to be the fig tree that gets cursed, that says it's a disciple, that says it is a follower of Christ, but has no fruit whatsoever that shows that. And we're not showing it to be performative. It should be naturally there. An apple tree isn't trying to perform. It's just naturally bearing because of what it is rooted in. Okay? This continues. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, if I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends. So ultimately, we become friends. This transcends the worldly definition of friends. Facebook, you can have 5,000 friends. Those are not your friends. Okay? But ultimately, we reach a level where we are friends. Not above, not below, but that we are friends. If that is not the goal of the person who is discipling you, or your goal as someone who is discipling others, then you are not doing it with the right heart posture. Ultimately, we become friends. Meaning on the same level. No hierarchy. Okay? All right. Almost there. And as John 16:29, his disciples said unto him, Lo, now speakest thou plainly, and speakest no proverb. So what this is demonstrating is that Yeshua's disciples, one, they were getting frustrated with the process, right? Remember, we saw Mr. Miyagi having Daniel's son wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. They're now getting frustrated, and they're just like, speak to us plainly, right? So this demonstrates a couple things. It demonstrates their eagerness and their hunger to know the truth, but it also demonstrates their laziness to be able to sit with the unknown and process it for themselves. Because the greatest truth will be the truth that you discover for yourself. If I tell you the truth, it lands differently than if you have an experience that leads you to the truth yourself. So we don't give answers. As the discipler, we don't just give straight answers. In fact, when I was taught how to tutor in college, one of the lessons I learned was never take the pencil from the student. Why? Because they're struggling with math and you're like, give me your pencil, let me show you. But when you take the pencil, you disempower them and they are never able to get it on their own. So now they're getting the answers right when you're there, but the moment that you leave and they now have a test and you're not there, what happens? They don't know how to do it. So you never take the pencil. Whitney and I are trying to teach our daughters about money because as financially savvy as we are, they wilding with money. Okay. And so we're trying to figure out how to put them in situations, whether it's their own businesses. Jada makes what we call heavenly eggs. And, people call it deviled eggs. We make heavenly eggs over here. We're trying to teach them how to manage their own money so that they can see it for themselves rather than us trying to ram it down their throat as this is what it is. This is the challenge. So, yes, all of you who are parents, you are disciplers. You're already a discipler. Your children are your disciples. You may not call it that, but that is what you were doing. That is the relationship. Okay? John 19:26-27, when Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he loved, he said unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour that disciple took her unto his own home. When we are in true community, and I pray for this day to come, when we are in true community, when someone loses, similar to what I saw happen for Whitney's grandfather, when you lose somebody, the community fills in the gap. We aren't there yet. We are virtual. And we're going to do our best. We want to create an app that allows us to understand and know what people's needs are that are beyond financial. Right? So we can facilitate that kind of unity and oneness virtually. but we have some work to do. But even if we do succeed at doing that virtually, or when we do succeed at doing that virtually, we still want physical demonstrations of that. We imagine that the family out in Chicago, there's a few hundred of you there. And when somebody needs to move, the men that are there say, all right, we're going over to such and such house 4 hours. We're going to help them move. You don't have to pay for no moving service. When someone needs catering for a birthday or some interior design, then the person who is gifted at that in that community chooses the time tithe and design their daughter's third birthday. This is somebody needs an attic cleared, then we as a community go, and this is what we want. Whitney and I were talking about who is the best demonstration of this in the United States. And guess who is the best demonstration? The Amish. The Amish, to my understanding, and I have more research to do, are the only people who have been able to preserve their culture, their values, etc., without imposing on other people. There have been cultures that are tight-knit within the world that the world respects, but they've gotten what they've gotten by oppressing other people outside of themselves. The Amish have been the only people that we've seen be able to do that within the United States without demonizing, speaking negatively about, persecuting, or oppressing other people. So we're going to continue to study that model and see how we can manifest that, what we can learn from it. All right? Moving forward. This is the vision. Remember, we're only 1 year old, family. Imagine where we're going to be at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. This is what we are excited about. Right now, we are just seed planting. All right. I'm going to, John 20, let's go to verse 30. And many other signs truly did Jesus in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in the book. Okay. So again, Yeshua publicly demonstrating. But at the end of the day, Yeshua did not want to have to do miracles. Yeshua did not want to have to do miracles. He wanted you to believe the truth off of the words themselves, not off of miracles. So if I speak something and the words resonate with your spirit, even if I fall short in my life, in my demonstration of that thing, if it truly resonated with you, you go off the word, not necessarily if Julian did it perfectly, or if Whitney did it perfectly, or if she and I as one did it perfectly. We're going to do our best to demonstrate, to practice and then demonstrate, not performatively. But even if we fall short, if that word resonates with you as truth, that you seek to embody it in your own life. Okay? That you don't need signs and miracles and wonders from us to believe something that is resonating with you in your heart. All right? We are not perfect. We are being perfected. We are not perfect. We know we are being perfected. And the ultimate goal is perfection. As Yeshua said, be ye perfect like your Father. So we know that that is the expectation of Christ. And that we are all, us included, on the journey of being perfected. So we invite you to hold us to a high standard, and as we will also do for you. But that high standard is not a standard of perfection. It is, I believe you can do this, right? But I'm also aware that you're being perfected. John 21:4, and when the morning was now come, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Jesus. I'll bypass that one for right now. John 21:7-8. Therefore, that disciple whom Jesus loved said unto Peter, Is it the Lord? And the other disciples came in the little ship. I'll skip that for right now. Yes, I'll leave it. I'll leave it right here, family. Okay. Everybody, take a deep breath. All right. So I do have to say this, family, from a Christ-like standpoint. Do you know that Paul never, ever uses the word disciple? Yeshua clearly says in the Great Commission, make what? Disciples. Paul, who goes on to write the majority of the New Testament, never uses the word disciple. He uses saints. He uses brothers and sisters. He uses faithful in Christ Jesus. He uses called ones. He uses beloved of God. But he never says disciples. In fact, Paul goes on to create hierarchy, deacons, bishops, this and that, which has become the infrastructure of the Roman Catholic Church. But what did Jesus say? That ultimately we would become friends. We would become equals. That there was no hierarchy. Yeshua operates in circles, not pyramids. And so we just have to be mindful of this, that whether this was intentional or not, that at some point the message got distorted. And we have to go back to the red text, which is what Yeshua said was to make disciples, meaning that we were seeking to apply his teachings, not take on a new teaching, which is the gospel of grace introduced by Paul, but to actually live out his teachings. This is what disciples do. Disciple is someone who hears the teaching and seeks to apply it and make it a living word, who hears words and then seeks to make it a living word. So we just have to be mindful of that on our journey. And I encourage you to study that for yourselves. For those of us who have been in New 260, you've seen that. So going back to this metaphor or these stories, how to be a disciple, Luke 7:36 through 50, we put our head, our highest thinking, at the feet of our master. There are some people who, in real estate, for example, I'll bump into them in the airport. And though I know all of this about real estate, they will come and they will talk to me like a peer. And I say, how many properties have you bought? 0. So in that instance, I'm not saying that anybody has to bow down to me. That's not what I'm saying physically. But if you know that I have richer experience than you, then just submit, right? You don't have to come into me as we're equal. You're actually here to learn from me. So you can only learn if your cup is empty. If your cup is already full, then there's no space for me to pour in anything. Okay? Then how to disciple others. This seems so contradictory, is that we go from our high level of understanding and we willingly come down to wash the understanding of those that we are discipling. That's John 13:1 through 17. Jesus washing his disciples' feet. Okay? So we are both a disciple and discipling at the same time. But we must become a disciple first. So we've been exploring these questions. What is the disciple? How to become a great disciple? And then how to make disciples. And through this teaching, and I'm going to expand on this chart based on the insights from today, there's so much here, right? But I think that those two stories really capture the essence of how to be a disciple and how to disciple others. So I want you to take a screenshot of this. In our new member disciple preview class, we will go into it a little bit more. Okay. But for those of you who won't be joining us at 1:15, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. These are my notes from our 3-part study on the word disciple. What is a disciple? How do I become a great disciple? And then how do I make disciples. And I want you to sit with these as we embark on this journey together. Now, before we close out, I want to walk you through the disciples' journey, right? This is the disciples' journey, all right? So this is what I meditated on, and this is what came to me as I really looked at my own journey. So the first step, it starts with membership or scholarship, right? Meaning that you are committed to learning at a high level, right? That has to be the first stage of discipleship. And so all of you are considered members of the Christ-like church if you have been coming here consistently. From there, we actually start to work on our relationship and our sonship, commitment to becoming one with God and align missions. So much so that there is no missions, that it is one singular mission. Then we go into apprenticeship or mentorship, commitment to following to learn how to do the work. So now I'm going to follow so I can observe and have this apprenticeship, this internship, this mentorship. Then I go into self-leadership, commitment to picking up my own cross, right? And we read that today. Then I go into stewardship, commitment to take care of someone's belongings. So now God starts to give me some resources after seeing my self-leadership. Says, here's 5 talents for you, here's 2 for you, here's 1 for you, right? Now I'm going into stewardship. Then I'm going to be 100% transparent. From there comes hardship. But you commit to endure and be perfected by the process. So we don't resist hardship. We know that hardship is part of the journey. Then we go into fellowship, commitment to give and receive in larger community. So when we do Heat the Homeless and we go out into the world, that is fellowship. But then there's the discipleship, which is commitment to practice love in a smaller community, right? So it's very hard to disciple hundreds of people, but Yeshua discipled 12. Then that 12 went to 72, meaning that the 12 each had 6. And then from there, go into conservatorship, commitment to give power and authority to someone else. This is where empowerment comes through. So this is the process of discipleship. And right now, many of us are here at stage 1 in the beginning. Whitney and I just wanted to give you a preview of what is to come. All right. So I'm going to read this. This is the Disciples' Declaration. This is a summation of everything that we've put together, and you may not be ready to make this commitment, right? In full. You are still a member if you have been attending Christ-like church and you were at the scholarship stage, right? But when you are ready to make the commitment to go on this journey, this is what it looks like. As of this moment, I commit to being a disciple of Christ. I commit to oneness with the Father, which is what it means to have Christ consciousness or the mind of Christ. I commit to do my best to keep his words, sayings, and commandments and reflect Christ in thought, word, and action. I commit to God's will first, not my will, having faith in God's provision. I commit to denying myself, taking the narrow road, picking up my cross, following the way of Christ, bearing good fruit, and doing greater works. I commit to the process of perfection and lifelong baptism by fire and enduring until the end. I commit to repenting when I am wrong and forgiving when I am wronged. I commit to loving God, loving myself, loving my spiritual family, loving my neighbors, loving the stranger, and loving my enemies. I commit to being a light in the world and a salt in the earth. I commit to hunger and thirst after righteousness. I commit to daily prayer and communion with God. I commit to studying the scriptures and the law to uphold them righteously. I commit to ask questions and seek the truth that will set me free. I commit to preach the kingdom of God, speak the truth to authority with authority. I commit to fellowshipping with my spiritual family, which is anyone who does the will of my Father. I commit to freeing the oppressed, uplifting the poor, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, helping people see, healing the sick, and welcoming new people. I commit to laying down my life for God and the greatest good for all. I commit to making disciples. This is the Disciples' Declaration, and I'm just sharing it with you because when you are ready, This is the commitment and the requirement. So after service today, I'm going to bring back up Whitney in just a second. We're approaching our time to give and closure for the service. We have our new member and disciple preview session. It'll be right here on this Zoom link. And so we'll leave this Zoom link open and we will start. She and I will take a quick break and then come back and do that. And we'll be together for about another 45 minutes or so as we walk you through this process. We are so excited to go on this journey with you. And again, the distinction is you're all members if you were here studying and learning with us, right? But when you are ready to start to move forward in these advanced stages of discipleship, this is what this process is all about. So with that, thank you so much for enduring this powerful word study on disciple with us and what it means to be a disciple. And with that, I'm going to bring back up Whitney.
Okay, beautiful. That was so powerful. Of course. Right now, we want to talk about giving. So here at the Christlike Church, we have a faith fund that has $16,870.05, right? And this is from our members who are giving. And you can go to the christlikechurch.com to give, but just a little overview. Right now, 91% of the money that comes in goes to our community. That's like the community projects that you see us doing. That's we help our community a lot when we do the ask and receive, and we're helping people in our community. That comes from everybody. So if we help somebody with their light bill, right, that's you helping them as well. 9% goes to the mission. Of course, you see our technology that we need, the Zoom that you're on, things like that. And right now, 0% goes to us. Julian and I love what we do here. So that's exactly how our faith fund is broke down. We're very transparent here at the Christlike Church. So the christlikechurch.com is where you go to give, right? In James 1:27, it says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world, right? So when we go out and we're helping our homeless homies, right? When we go out, we have an order to help the people that need, right? To help the people that that we can help, right? So even in your community, see how you can help out, right? So we have Heat the Homeless, and we just distributed, I think, 50 some bags in November, another 50 in December, and then we went out again that same week, and another, I think, 25 bags as well. So when we do that, we fill these care packages with things that our homeless homies need, right? So right now we're in a cold season, so we have sleeping bags, hand warmers, water bottles, gloves, beanies, right? Things that actually help them. Okay, so that every time if you provide or if you send in $60 and you want it to go straight to a care package, you can go to heatthehomeless.com and donate that way. You guys, we do amazing things in the community. Here is us going out. One thing that I love to do is to really find out what our homeless homies need. Sometimes they just need you to look up an address to get them to the shelter or place that they need, right? So I love to go out on foot. This is like one of my favorite projects that we do because I'm finding out their name. I'm praying with them. I'm finding out their needs and how we can make these care packages better. Okay, so that's the christlikechurch.com/give. When we talk about at the beginning, I talked about ask and receive. So we like to help people in our community as well, right? So we have God grants that you might just need a little help in the gap, right? So this is for one-time emergency. You know, your power might not be off, but the bill is a little bit larger than normal and you might be on fixed income, right? So we like to help you in one-time emergencies. This is for our members that are active in our community, right? Over here at the Christlike Church, we honor buildings together, right? So it's not about you sending $1,000 all the time. It might just be this week you only have $5, $1, right? We value people that are active members in our giving process, right? And those who have given get priority, right? So it might be that you just fall on something short, so we can fill in the gap with hunger. You might have no food. You might just need a little bit more on your rent before the fees start adding up, right? Your utilities might have been cut off. Your car might need a tire or a brake light. You might have lost a job and you don't have savings right now. We've been able to help people through that government shutdown that happened a few months ago, right? Domestic violence, you guys, we were able to free a family. Yeah, this family is thriving and doing well. You guys, we did this over a year ago, and the whole entire family is just thriving. And so they are living a brand new life. So you guys that have given have been part of that. So we love to help people that might be in those situations, medication, and also childcare. So this is how we love to help as well. So if you are in the need of a God grant, you can go ahead at thechristlikechurch.com/God grants and fill that out over there. Okay. And right now, we have 3 ways to give right now. So you can go to thechristlikechurch.com to give. We also have PayPal and Venmo. Right now, our Cash App is closed down, but that will be opening up soon as well. So we're grateful for that. So I'm going to allow you guys some time to give and sow your seeds. It's done. I don't know if it's playing.
I give thanks. Oh, I give thanks for the breath in my lungs. I give thanks for everything you've done, for the past and present and for what's to come. I'm grateful to be among your chosen ones. I give thanks that my eyes can see, that my ears can hear, and my 2 good feet, that my hands can touch, and my heart still beats. I'm grateful to be in your body. I'm so grateful, I'm in amazement. I'm grateful for your greatness. I'm grateful you're so gracious. I'm so grateful, I can't stop praising. Give thanks for what you gave me, and I will never waste it. I give thanks for the breath.
Okay, y'all, thank you so much. Listen, you guys, that song is on the album. Okay, that song is on the album. We love when you guys are letting us know what songs you like, right? That song is also on the album, and it just makes me feel so good. Like that's one of my favorite ones on there. Yes, okay, perfect. So now let's talk about the Christ-like charge. Listen, you guys, I like Julian said, I am always taking notes. Okay, so I had a lot of things for the sermon, but at this point, we love to know, how are you going to go out in the world and be like Christ, right? It says that we have to do the will of our Father, right? So for whoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same as my brother, sister, and mother, right? We have to do the work. So when you're in service and you have that thing that you're taking with you, or you have a page and notes like me, what are you going to go out in the world and do that is Christ-like? Go ahead and type it in the chat. If you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, steal something out the chat. What is one thing that you're going to do to be more Christ-like? And while we're doing that, I'll share mine, you guys. Like like Julian said, we don't need to make this whole service about my grandpa, but he is 92 and thriving. And what I remember as a little girl always being with him is that my grandpa was always serving, right? So when we talk about discipleship and we talk about Yeshua washing the feet and we talk about the woman washing Yeshua's feet with her hair, right? There's so much service that is going on, right? And so when I picture my grandpa, how he said so many people serve him, you guys, as a 92-year-old man out here in the world, like I don't have to worry about my grandpa because I know people are feeding him. I know the people are helping him clean. I know he's getting around, y'all. He still drives and everything, right? So it gives my heart some comfort. But with that, when I see his community showing up with him, for him, my grandparents served in the church. They served in their community. They served so many people consistently, right? And so I can take that away. Like we just spent a few days with him up north, but what I can take from today, what we're learning is to go out in the world and see who I can serve. Who can I serve? That is a great question that you can ask. Who can I serve? Let me go ahead and read some of these off. Feed the less fortunate, practice my patience, yes, serve others in some way, volunteer at the pantry, cook a meal for my family. Yes, those things are so many amazing ways to be like Christ, right? To be like Christ. So again, steal some out the chat. If you're not really sure how to get out in the world, steal something out the chat. And I promise you, when you act like Christ out in the world, you're not only get to bear that fruit, you actually get to learn about yourself and you get to teach to others by just being the example. Through this last series, we are understanding that most of it is being the example. Christ was the example. So go out this week and be like Christ, okay? So this has been amazing, you guys. This is again me and Julian back here in give us about 10 more minutes, okay? So we'll be starting at about 1:25, 1:30, right? And I'm so excited for this class, you guys. If you don't have a church home and you're ready to be a member, and again, like Julian said in service, this is the narrow road. This isn't easy, right? But when you do it with community, it's so fulfilling, and you're not on an island by yourself, right? So I encourage you to come to the discipleship preview class. It's going to be starting shortly. It's going to be right here on this Zoom link. So you guys can just stay and hang out here, go get a little snack or whatever you need, right? And we'll meet you back here shortly for the people that are ready to take the Christ-like community to the next level, okay? So we love you and we thank you, and we'll see you shortly, or we'll see you next week.
God that made the world and all things therein, sing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life, and breath in all things, and have made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring.
I am the church, where two or more are gathered.
God is at work.
God is at work.
Oh,
I am the church.
Monday through Sunday,
I'm here to serve. I am.
oh,
I am the church.
where I walk is holy ground.
We're a body of believers.
Welcome to my Father's house.
Christ said, I am the door.
come
and take a tour.
There's plenty room for more. Just don't ignore your church, 'cause
I am the church
yeah,
where two or more are gathered.
God is at work.
God is at work. I am the church.
Monday through Sunday.
I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
Chapter 17, verse 21.
Inside of Luke.
Christ said the kingdom of God.
Inside of you.
You're so heavenly that God chose.
To abide in you.
Now the world can see God's light
Inside of you.
inside of you.
Oh,
Church is not a place.
yeah,
It's me and you holding space.
yeah.
The church is not a building. It's me and you both healing. The church has no walls. It's anywhere we're called. The church has no ceiling.
It's
Us kingdom building. I am the church. Yeah, yeah. Two or more are gathered. God is at work. God is at work. God is at work. I am the church. Yeah, yeah. Two or more are gathered. God is at work.
God is on.
God is at work.
Oh.
God is at work.
Welcome to our new member disciple preview session. This is really
Slides.
um,
Can I see the slides?
let's check your computer real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So welcome to our new member disciples preview session. This is really a space where we're just going to share with you what the membership process looks like here at Christ-like Church. The reality is that many of you are already members in terms of how you've been showing up and doing the work and walking the walk. And so we just want to give you a little bit more detail and also create space for asking questions. And so when we look at Christ-like Church, we see it. We see three types of people. We see visitors of Christ-like Church. We see friends of Christ-like Church, and then we have members, which we actually are calling disciples of Christ. Right. So you can be a member of Christ-like Church, but you're ultimately a disciple of Christ, and the church is just one of the mechanisms that is facilitating your process of discipleship. So visitors, for those of you, I think most of the visitors have left, and that's okay. We don't have any expectations, whatever. Visitors come when they want to come. No expectations of being on Thursday night disciple study, no expectations around community service or giving, or even the Great Commission. They just come, and when they feel like this is a home for them, then they can go to the next level. And so the next
Yes.
level.
Yeah, and then a friend, right? So a lot of people are friends, or you might invite a friend and they come, right? They might come one or two times. I know I'll get some text messages like, "Are y'all doing Bible study today?" Things like that. They might come to our Bible studies once in a while. They might volunteer or meet us out in the field when we're doing some of our community projects. They give monthly, or they give when they show up, right? And they just invite others to our church, right? And then going into if you are still here, you're probably like, Christ, we're ready to go to the next level, right? Christ-like Church is my place, right? This is where I know that I have support in my walk, in my own personal walk, right? Because remember, when we're calling our members disciples, but you're not a disciple of Christ-like Church, you're a disciple of Christ, right? So these people, you're coming to studies, right? You're coming to studies. You guys are emailing us. You're sharing ideas with us, right? You're showing up consistently. You might be in Sisters in the Scriptures. You might come to our new Thursday Bible study. You might be in church every Sunday. You might email or text us afterwards with more questions or whatever, right? This is where you're picking up your cross. Hey, Whit, I don't live in Atlanta, but I want to do this in my city. Like, How can I organize it? Can you guys come out here? Can you guys help fund my project? You're bringing ideas on how we can do community service where you are, right? This is where your giving is reoccurring. You understand that for us to build this church, for us to get out the great word, for us to live in this, it does have some cost. Now, we've done a great job here at the Christ-like Church with keeping these costs very minimal so we can give back to our members, because again, we want to fill in the gap and things like that. But your giving is reoccurring and you are in training to start to disciple others, right? And if that is intimidating, I want to share this with you. When we talk about disciples making disciples, but you might be very great in an area. Like, I feel like I'm very great in this area of discipleship, but I'm still learning. I'm still a baby in another part of discipleship, but you're locked in to be able to disciple others with what you become great at. And God has merged your gifts inside of your discipleship for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And so this particular invitation is going to be on the last Sunday of every single month. So just as we've completed our discipleship study, well, it's never completed. It's actually going to be ongoing. But these are the two heart postures of how to be a disciple and how to disciple others. And I really feel like these images and these stories really capture that. And so this is what we're going to be going through. And in terms of what is a disciple, we've already answered that question. Yeshua then commands us to become disciples. So again, while you are a member of Christ-like Church, ultimately the goal is to make disciples, and that is the whole goal. And this is why we started off with that study. Now, we didn't get into this in the study. This is our recap and our summary. I do encourage you to take a screenshot of this. We want you to really embody and embrace what is being said here, because this is the challenge. This is the walk. This is the narrow road. And so we've laid it out, and I'm going to add in my notes. And then we'll continue to come back to this over and over and over as we do disciple study on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And that will just be an hour. It's our midweek study and sermon. So you can invite people to Sunday to Christ-like conversations, but then this is where you really focus on your walk. And so I already walked you through this just a moment ago as we finished up our Christ-like study, but this is the journey, family, and it is an extended process. It is an ongoing process. It is a lifelong process. Mm-hmm. And so many of us are really at stages 1 and stages 2, and some in stages 3 and 4, but Whitney and I are in these processes as well. So we aren't at the quote unquote end. Even then, it's a circular process. Mm-hmm. As you kind of spiral upward. You keep getting Danny, just like you do a scripture or a story, and you get one layer of it the first time you read it, but then what were the one with the issue of blood? We read that again, and we got a whole nother. So it's like it's as you come back to the text and you come back to the understanding of love and what it means to follow Christ, you're going to get deeper and deeper understandings and insights. And this is why we're studying the consciousness, the character, and the commandments of Christ, and then seeking to embody those and live those out on a daily basis. And so we also walked you through the disciples declaration. What did y'all think about the disciples declaration, y'all? Was this intimidating? What did you think about the disciples declaration? It's a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift, right? But we really believe that this captures what Christ has called us to do. And you can see all the scriptures there supporting that. And ultimately, we'll get to a point where we memorize this just in the same way that we memorize the Lord's Prayer, so that we are reminded as we are navigating life. We can draw from these scriptures in the same way that Yeshua drew from scripture when he was being tempted by Satan. We can draw from these scriptures, reminding us of our North Star, of the direction that we are headed in. And so now we want to go over really quickly the disciplines of a disciple, right? And so, read this.
Yes. So in Mark 1:35, And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed for solitary place and there prayed. Right? So, or go ahead.
Yeah, so Yeshua obviously demonstrated in the Gospels different disciplines that he had, right? The root word of disciple is
Right, discipline. So really just inside of here, we're kind of helping you create what your time looks like, right? So we might not all be able to walk off into the woods and have a whole entire day with just God, right? But helping you as a disciple, you might say, Whitney, I have 5 minutes for my morning routine. So what does that look like to go to a place, not just your regular routine prayer, but really to ask God to put you in positions where you have to learn how to disciple?
Yeah, and so ultimately what we want everybody to get to is a space called time tithing. And we know that this may be a little bit easier for the entrepreneurs who have more freedom over their schedule. But even if I look at those who have 9 to 5s that they travel to, or that you're working from home, if you're traveling, you have your commute, right? And there's a way to use your commute as a time to time tithe. And time tithing is really taking 10% of your waking hours. So most people are awake for about 15 hours. That's 90 minutes, finding 90 minutes in your day to be with God. And there's many different ways. That's from meditation, that's prayer, that's reading scripture, that's listening to spiritual content during your commute, listening to the Christ-like album, anything that's going to put you and strengthen the relationship to God. What do you do during the day?
Yeah, and I want to share too. So I'm talking to like the busy parents, right? So some of us are busy parents, right? Or just busy women in your household, wifing, mommying, running your business, working your job, things like that. When I started to carve out morning time for this, right, before my household wakes up, I actually helps me get me in a beautiful Christ-like state, right? So I'm not rushing my children out the house. Is your lunch packed? You got this, right? I'm not just so overstimulated. My mind is in a Christ consciousness, ready to take on whatever is coming. So I prefer to do these type of hours during the morning, right? And if I don't have my full 90 days, like the commute, I drive my daughter a pretty far commute. So in that time that I have on my own, I might listen to music, I might find a video, I might replay one of our Bible studies, right? So just finding 90 minutes to spend with God. It might look like 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes midday and 30 minutes at night.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So we want you to be able to hear God, right?
Yes.
And so we all connect with God in different ways. For some of you, it's going to be prayer. For some of you, it's going to be meditation. And we know those two are very similar. It's all prayer is really communion and self-reflection with God. For some people, it's going to be fasting. We fast about one time a week for 24 hours. Typically on Monday is our fasting day. For some of you, it's going to be nature, going outside and grounding. And so we want you to be able to hear the voice of God in your everyday life. And so here are some disciplines of a disciple that we want you to consider, especially as we come into this new year. People start adding on new things. We do not want you to add on 4 things at once. That's how you fail, right? We want you to pick one thing for January. We want you to get that in your rhythm. Then after that, in February, once that's in your rhythm, you add on something else, right? And so this is going to be prayer, self-reflection. This is your menu. This is what you get to choose from. Prayer, self-reflection, journaling, meditation, worship. How do you worship? Like David danced, but do you worship in a different way? Some people might worship through stretching, right? Like cooking may be worship for you. Reading spiritual text, nature, gratitude. Maybe gratitude journal is what you need right now. Breath work is really powerful. Whitney does breath work, and it's beautiful to see her state when she comes out of that. Creation, right? For some of you, it's poetry, going and creating music. I know when I was creating the Christ-like album, I was being woken up at 3 a.m. and that was my time with God as the lyrics were coming to me, and I was going into the technology to master the songs and things of that nature. Fasting, community service, community, just gathering people is a way and is a discipline. And you see that all throughout the Gospels. And then we really want to encourage you to take Sabbath as well. And Sabbath can look different. It doesn't might not be sundown to sun up. It might be just the first 4 hours of your Saturday or something along those lines.
Yeah, and I want to share a couple tips about these disciplines, right? So a lot of times, you guys, as we go on this narrow road, okay, as you go on on this narrow road, it is lonely sometimes. It is, or you're alone sometimes, not necessarily lonely. Somebody asked me the other day, why is this so lonely? And I said, you know what? At first on my journey of getting this close to God, it was very lonely, but then I had to realize that I was just alone, but God was with me the whole entire time. So that helped me remove the lonely from it, right? So I want to share with you just a couple tips with these things when it comes to fasting. You're like, hold on, I can't even go till noon without eating, right? Fasting, when I have fasts all the time. So like, or we fast as a church. When you get in those, if any women have been in my women fast, right? Let me know in the comments. But when we fast together, we'll be so encouraged with each other. I might create a group chat, right? And we might be fasting, and some people, my last fast was 3 days. They said, oh, coach, you're done doing this fast. We're going to continue on without you, right? So there's communities for fasting. There's communities for community service. So when you're adding these things to what you already do, just look also for different groups that are doing this together, right? In my women's group, we have a dance class together, right? So that's a form of worship for us. And so doing this with other people makes it a beautiful process as well.
Yeah, and we always want to remind you to never lose sight of the pure intention and never do this as performative. So we never want to wake up and pray to check off a box, meditate to pray off a box, fast to check off a box. Oh, I fasted this month, or I fasted this Monday. We always have to go back to the pure intention. We will do, it says, love thy Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. Okay, so this is something that we really have to remember so that we don't end up like Sadducees and Pharisees and start doing things performatively to say I'm doing the things that Christ told me to do without the heart of them. So this is the one thing and warning, as we talked about today. Yeshua made them aware. He said, beware. This is what we are making you aware of, that these things never become performative. Now, there may become mornings where you wake up and you don't want to meditate. And it's just a checkbox day. It's like, okay, I for the sake of my consistency, I'm going to pray for 3 minutes, right? And yes, that's a checkbox day, but we never want that to become the overarching spirit of why you're doing it.
Yeah, I wanted to share that as well, because when things become performative, you're not getting everything that you should get from that, right? So for an example, there was a time where I was like, I'm Bible studying, I'm doing everything, but I cannot hear God. So meditating wasn't making sense for me, right? Now I can hold meditation, but before that, I couldn't hear that. So instead of just, oh, I meditated today, I was channeling a different avenue of disciple discipline that I could take on in that moment until I circle back and I could hear God a little bit more clearly again. So again, pure intentions when you're doing these things. You guys, when you're giving, if you go out and you just, oh, I'm going to feed the homeless, but it's like, oh, I got to feed the homeless and I'm just doing it to get it done. You're doing it with not the best intent, right? You're doing it for Instagram or whatever, right? To show people you're doing it. You want to do these things with great intent. When these care packages go out, I am praying over these care packages. Our groups are meeting. We're praying before we do our thing, right? Because we want to make sure that we're honoring pure intentions instead of performance when it comes to being a disciple.
Yes. And so with that, we're also going to be covering in disciple study how to invite people to Christ-like church. So remember, only based on what we've read, only disciples can make disciples. So many of us aren't ready to make disciples, but you can invite people to this space. And so we're not going to go through all of this now. These are things that we're going to practice and do role playing on disciple study. But right now, we feel like we have three audiences: is those who have just fallen in hate relationship with religion, those who are struggling and broken because spirituality is not working for them, or colonized Christians, meaning that they are caught up in the Western version of evangelical Christian nationalism. And so we're going to introduce you to ways to, and these are simple questions. Yes, we'll use questions, how to bring somebody in. So for a religion hater, for example, it might be, do you think of yourself as more spiritual than religious? That opens up the conversation, right? They're like, yeah, I'm more spiritual, this and that. Do you love Christ but not Christianity? Oh man, Christ is everything about Christ. I'm down for it, but that opens up the conversation. For struggling and broken, does your family support you? Somebody struggling and broken, oftentimes they feel alone, and so we have created a family. We can become their spiritual family. Are you in the midst of a dark night of the soul? This is language that people know. Or are you going through an ego death? this is what we support people through, saying that that's actually a good thing. That means that you're on the path, and we're going to help you get back to the light. Or colonized Christians, what do you think Christ would say about Christianity if he came back today? That opens up a conversation. Have you heard of Christ-like church, right? So we're going to walk through these things on how to invite people to the space. Of course, we have our different Bible studies that you can always invite people to. If they already go to a church on Sunday or something like that, our Bible studies are other avenues to share with them. We also have the Red Text Blueprint that's absolutely free that people can download. So you like, look, let's just get back to the red text. There's this free tool that my friend created, and it's absolutely free, and you can download it at redtextblueprint.com, or you might get several copies and distribute those. Just like people are distributing Bibles, you might distribute Red Text Blueprint. And then, of course, we have the Christ-like music. When you driving down the street, blast that joint, Christ-like, you know what I'm saying? Blast it. Let them know, like, what's that? All right. So these are tools that we will share with you in terms of how to invite people. Then we have contributing to the kingdom. And contributing to the kingdom is living out Yeshua's purpose. And his purpose is in Luke 4:18-19. Our purposes, our crosses should be tied into his. And he said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. That's what we're supposed to do. Then poor is not just financial. They're spiritually poor. They're physically poor, emotionally poor. Every different realm of our life we can experience intellectually poor. Poverty is not just a financial metric, okay? Anywhere where you have abundance and somebody else is lacking, that is poverty for them, and you get to use your abundance to uplift them, right? People's in their relationships and their marriages are poor. So I need you to think about poor as greater than financial. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, people that are going through depression, hard times, grief, lost a parent, lost a significant other, lost a child, right? This is who we're here for, to preach deliverance to the captives, anybody who's dealing with any form of oppression that this world has created, and recovering sight to the blind. Blind is not just people who can't see with their eyes. Anybody who can't see the truth, who can't find their way in life, this is who we are here for. We're here to light their path and to set at liberty them that are bruised, those who have been hurt by this world, and to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. So our purposes should tie in to Christ's purpose. Now, this is one of Whitney's favorite scriptures from Acts.
Okay, and when they had prayed, the place was shaken where they were assembled together, and they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and they spake the word of God with boldness, right? And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul.
You see this? What is that right there, y'all?
One heart. One heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own, but they all had all things in common. And when the great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and the great grace was upon them. What was I going to say? What we have to remember is that we're all working together, right? Like, this is a collective thing that we're doing here at the Christ-like Church, right? So all of these things, they work for us, and so it's very, very important that we get together and we're assembling together. When it comes to Acts, if you guys have been in Acts training or read Acts, it's all about the people building the church, and that's exactly what we're doing here at Christ-like Church.
Yeah. So having all things in common, this is why we created the Faith Fund. So the Faith Fund is a way for us to share from our abundance. Even if your abundance only feels like $1 that week, it allows us to pour into one pot that then supports those who feel that they are short financially in a particular week. And so, here at Christ-like Church, money is a secondary thing. It is a tool for us. But we do, as we expand, it's going to take more than just a Zoom account and a website and a CRM for us to fulfill the mission. And so in our 2026 vision and goals, there are 3 things that we really want to start raising money for. We do want a physical space in Atlanta, Georgia, but not a physical space like a church building that is only used at maximum capacity for 3 hours in a week. We want some sort of flex space that can be used by the community all throughout the week for a variety of things, from the dance classes to yoga to through service and other birthdays.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say we have so much value inside of the community with the people that this space we're envisioning is going to. This is not a church space. This is a space. It's a community space.
Community space.
Like
Yeah.
y'all, I'm over the top. I can't wait till we have the community garden and everything, right? So this is exactly the type of physical space. So that's on the vision. So everybody needs to be praying for that vision of just a beautiful community place where we can all use,
Yep.
right? We can all use together.
Yeah, and that when those of you who are distant come into town, this is where we go to gather, and this
Yes.
is where we want to be able to break bread and have meals, Sunday night dinner together. You know, so this is part of the vision for 2026. Whitney and I started looking for spaces last year, and we said, let's pause, let's get the foundation, and let's actually get our disciples together, and let's teach them, and then from there, let's build. So we know that the kingdom, while the temple is within, we know that it must also manifest outwardly.
I'm sorry. Just a place that we're able to act out these Christ-like principles,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I say when me and Julian always talk about doing life with people, right? So it's not just Bible study on Sunday, but how can we do life with you, life with us together, right? So really getting a space where the community can hang out. If you're in my Bible studies, you already know the more time that we spend together, the more time that we spend out of the world. Right. And we can influence the world by getting together and doing life together. Right. So
Yeah.
that's the vision for the physical space.
Yeah, so Janelle, yes, we have already submitted our IRS paperwork for the 501c3. We're just waiting for it to come back and us verified. So, yeah. So the next thing in terms of our focus is to free the First Lady. If you've seen everything she's been doing as Sisters in the Scriptures or whatnot, and Heat the Homeless, Whitney spends a lot of time dedicated to the church. She has taken time away from her marketing business in order to give and support. She's on one-on-one calls with folks. She's praying and things of that nature. And so we want to be able to free her part-time at least. And that is pay Whitney $1,000 per week so that she can commit 100% of her time to the ministry. If we unlock this woman to be 100% of time dedicated to the ministry, it's up and to the right. All right. We want to be able to free her. And I'll be honest with you, I could do it, right? I could do it. But what we know that is that this takes a community effort and everybody has to contribute. And so we know that if we get 100 people to commit to $100 a month, which is $25 a week, that's $10,000 a month going into the church that we can rely on. And that would be enough to unlock everything that Whitney wants to do to fulfill the vision for the church. That includes doing grant writing for Heat the Homeless. So Heat the Homeless money isn't coming out of the Faith Fund. We're actually getting that funded, the partnerships with the hand warmer companies, the sleeping bag companies. So this is what we want to unlock her to be able to do. And this is part of the financial request. And then ultimately, we want to create a custom phone app. There are many church apps out there that allow members to connect and this and that. But when we think about our principles around time tithing and people having needs that we want to meet, like if somebody needs therapy and is just going to considering therapy for the first time and we have a therapist, then we should have a therapist in the community that is open to time tithing 1 hour a week to the community, and the community is able to draw on that person. If there's a nutritionist in the community and somebody's dealing with fibroids, we want to be able to facilitate that exchange. This when I talked about doing life together in the non-physical through the virtual, this is how we meet each other's needs. So this is why in the new member form that we're going to share with you at the end, we're asking for your spiritual gifts. What are you gifted at? What do you know? Because we know that there's somebody in the community who needs what you have right now, but there's no way to do that. And the standard apps that are out there don't facilitate that kind of exchange. So time tithing is going to be central to the design of this. And so we're going to need economic resource for that as well.
Yeah, and I just want to share this about when we get this app or we figure out how to do this, you guys, it's so beautiful when we do these surveys of all the value that's in the community. And I always talked with Julian about how we're all finding each other. Okay, if we all have the Christ-like church in common, like we're riding on a mindset and a love and different things like that. So you guys, like when we're these gifts that you have, they're not always financial. They're just things that you're great at that other people could need. You guys, even down to parenting. There's some parents in here that have kids in college, and there's parents that have kids going to college, and they just need the advice that's not on the internet. They need to know how to be an empty nester. They need to know this stuff. So just even the value that you are as a person, when we ask for these things, please share, because there's so much people in our community that we can create these exchanges.
Yeah, so as Whitney said, all the gifts are not financial. In fact, finances is the last gift that we desire. We ultimately want to create a community where we're trading, we're sharing time, we're sharing our talents, and then treasure. So financial is part of it. We need to buy these things, but we want to be able to access your true God-given gifts. And so these are the different ways to contribute to the kingdom through Christ-like church, right? And we already got a couple people to volunteer for Heat the Homeless Lead in Brooklyn, Janelle and somebody, I forgot who the other person was. Social gospel spreader, we had somebody reach out for that, but we can always use more than one person. And then Janine also was interested in being a Rich and Righteous book club leader. We definitely probably would want a co-facilitator there in case she can't make it or something like that. So if you're interested in any of these particular roles right now, you can just email Whitney at contact@thechristlikechurch.com. Okay.
Yep. And just a little bit more about the volunteering. I see a couple ideas in the chat. I've seen a couple. Go ahead and email those at contact@thechristlikechurch.com as well, so I can get back to you. I know a couple people were asking me about emails from last week. This past week, we kind of just took off to spend time with our family and travel and actually plan for what we're about to do with the church in 2026. So I'll be getting back to those emails. But yeah, even the ideas that you have, I know this is the volunteer slide, but the ideas that I see in this chat, go ahead and email them right there as well.
Yeah. And we checked that on Monday. We checked that on Monday. Yeah. So make more disciples. You know that is the actual call, but we are aware that we must become a disciple before we go out and start trying to make disciples. And so when we're making disciples, we're really going to be thinking about, and these are things we're going to discuss on Thursday nights. Who do you have influence over? And you may think of the closest people to you, family, friends, etc., business partners. But as you know, Yeshua was not respected in his own home, right? But Jesus said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kin, in his own house. So sometimes the people close to you aren't the people that you're closest to you, aren't going to be the people you're meant to disciple. It's going to be people who are actually in the second, third, or even fourth rings. It may not be people in your household, right? It may be the cashier at the bank. It may be the cashier at the grocery store. It may be a parent, another parent at the school that your child goes to that you always bump into. It's probably going to be these secondary, tertiary, and tiers where you actually find people who you ultimately want to disciple. But as we said, remember, many of you are already discipling in various ways. If you are a parent, you are discipling. If you are a mentor, you are discipling. If you are coaching people, you're discipling. If you're a teacher, you're discipling. So many of you are discipling in many different ways, and we just want to explore how deep in that. I've been discipled by so many people in my childhood, my young adulthood, and my adulthood. And to be honest with you, family, I would not be who I am or where I am if it weren't for all these people pouring into me. This is what discipleship looks like. I have my parents here. I have my godparents. I have baseball coach, soccer coach. I have teachers. I have mentors. I have ministers here. Like all these people poured into me. And look at the diversity that you see here, from white men to Asian women to women to men to old elders. Like, this has been beautiful, and this is what helped create me. And so we want to create more of this in the world. And so you can be discipled by more than one person. All these people disciple me in different areas of life, right? And so in John 13:15, Yeshua talks about, for I've given you an example that you should do as I have done unto you, right? He wasn't the exception, he was an example. And so this is, family, a pyramid scheme, but not in the negative way that you think of a pyramid scheme. What we're ultimately doing, as I said in today's service, this is a positive pyramid team. This is not a pyramid scheme. This is a positive pyramid team where we are all rooted in Christ, right? And then we disciple others, and say you disciple 3 people or 6 people or 12, and then those people end up discipling more people. This is how we transform the world. And look at this, family. You see this number at the top? I'm going to go back to the other slide. This is only 13 layers deep. And you have 13 billion people down at the 13th layer. That's more than the 8 billion people in the world. That's 13 layers deep, and that is more than the population of the world. And so if we all committed to this process, this is what is possible, and this could happen faster than we could have ever imagined if we get this right. And unfortunately, the colonized Christian church has built this infrastructure on buildings and size and baptisms and things of that nature. They are not in position. They may be able to, but because that is their ethos and 80% of their energy goes to Sunday at 8 a.m., right? There's going to be difficult for them to course correct. To go into these small, saying, these small communities, discipleship is the way. And so we know that we are going to have to lead in that charge, right? So we're going to guide you through processes on how to find your 12. And again, it may not be 12, but your 12 could look like, your niece. It could look like your niece. It could look like your
mentor, your somebody who you have lunch with at work.
Yep.
It could look like your kid's bus driver. It could look like their coach, right? Different things like that. I think that finding your 12, they'll start to show up. I know that I am discipling people that live that I might not have known if I weren't in these spaces, right? So that person that you're on the way to disciple, they're gonna show up with the part that you're great at discipling at.
Correct.
Right? So if you're a great parent, you might be like, oh, I want to disciple people in this, but you just keep getting parents, right? You just keep getting parents, right? And so that gives you an opportunity to sharpen your skills in I think you've been on service with us a couple weeks. I've shared that when I asked God to help me at something, he put me in the position to have to learn that skill, right? And so again, your 12, right, is not who you think it is.
It's not going to be who you think it is. Some of the people that I discipled this year were not even on my radar.
From a friend.
Weren't even on my radar in 2024. So this is how it can happen. And so we just trust that. Remember, it says we don't have to go market, right? God draws. The Father draws his children to him. So we wait, and we just want to be in place as shepherds to guide. All right. And so we're going to talk about all the different on disciple study. We'll be discussing this whole disciple study might just be on this, right? On fellowship ideas. How can I fellowship one-on-one? How can I create a fun space to fellowship? What are some outdoor ideas? So we could spend a whole disciple study just on fellowshipping ideas that have worked for you, etc. And so here are our requirements. And these are not God's requirements. These are directional requirements. Let us put it that way, that we feel like if you're doing these things, you're directionally going towards discipleship. God has that criteria, and we've done our best to listen to God. But these are what we believe will really help you in your process of becoming a disciple of Christ, not of Christ-like church.
Yeah. So in this discipleship process, like again, it's ongoing. So when we say these requirements, right? So again, we don't use the word member here because we know that the charge is to go make disciples, right? But we know that if you align with these requirements, right? We know that as leaders here that you have been embodied with what discipleship looks like, right? And so some of the requirements, right, is at least 12 12 studies, right? 12 studies. We just went through a beautiful 3-week discipleship study. That is going to be a requirement for everyone becoming a member of the Christ-like church, right? Time tithing, right? So that might look like, hey, Whitney, I can't make it to Atlanta for Heat the Homeless, but I seen people in the Christ-like charge. They're going to go to their food pantry, right? Like, shoot us a experience. Let us know how that experience was. Let us know how we can bring that back and do it on behalf of Christ-like church, right? So time tithing in your church or community. The red text blueprint, here we study Yeshua's words. So it's very important that you pick up this book or get the free download and start to engulf yourself in this. I know that when we read the whole Bible, it's kind of intimidating. Like, even though a lot of us just read the New Testament all together this year, but reading the Bible might be a lot, right? So if that's not on your bingo card this year, go ahead and read the red text blueprint, because we know then you are getting Yeshua's words straight, right?
Yeah.
With that,
Or at least if you've already read the Gospels, the 4 Gospels are key.
And the 4 Gospels are key. I think in the red text blueprint, it's just broken down so beautifully, and it's a great tool and resource. And then also when you start discipling others, it's such a great go-to for yourself to use as a tool, right? The disciple maker method, you guys, this has not been released yet, and this is an amazing thing. This you will have no problem with, like, okay, I want to make that, I want to get that done, right? So this is going to have worksheets, journal prompts, ways to track your progress, and use with those that you disciple, right? And so this is an amazing thing. We haven't released that yet, but now y'all just seen it. It's going to be amazing, right? And then an elective, right? So I have some cool events coming for Sisters in the Scriptures. Pick Up Your Cross, our Paid for Purpose. A lot of you guys have took that program before. One thing is very important for us, that you're growing spiritually, but you're growing spiritually, and also that comes with a lot of life, right? So these things, we know that you are set up, understanding your purpose, your cross, right? That's very important to us here. The Acts discipleship training. If you have been in Acts training, I ran this back. We did it once I did it, and then we did it together. And with this, this will be Julian and I, we're going to do this. It'll be 1 hour a week with us. And with Acts disciple training, you're learning how the church was built. So you can go out here and build the church in your community or your area, and being able to bring them to the Christ-like church as well, but learning exactly how this was happening, right? It's important that you kind of know this history that was happening in Acts. And of course, we are big on our members being financially understanding, like and understanding the principles and how they lock in financially with Rich and Righteous. And again, we have volunteers that are ready to lead those groups, right? Lead those groups. I'm telling you guys, when you are in community, things become easier. The fasting becomes easier. Being held accountable to read a book together is amazing. And in that, you guys are actually doing church. When you're meeting up and reading together, right? We know that 2 or more are gathered in that midst, right? So amazing things will happen. New stuff, the Proverbs 31 day women's challenge. I got something amazing for you guys. And then the Sons of Solomon for men's challenge, right? So these are things that we know, we want you to lock in these things to be an official Christ-like church member or disciple, right? So this, you can go to the christlikechurch.com/disciple. Go ahead.
And on that form, when you go to that link, and somebody put that in chat, Amanda, can you put that in chat for us? When you go to that form, you'll see these as check boxes at the bottom, and mark the ones you've already done, so that we know what you've done already and where there are gaps. And then once you've completed this entire process, you'll let us know, I finished this now, and then you officially become a disciple. Again, this is just our standard. God may call you to do above and beyond, but this is, again, directional discipleship for us here at Christ-like Church. All right. So how we're going to continue on this journey together, as we shared with you, every Thursday at 7 p.m. we'll be having disciple study. Let the other churches focus on just Bible study. We're focused on disciple study and what it means to be a disciple. So some of these slides that we share with you, we might spend an entire session on these. We've come across some great YouTube videos. We might watch 20 minutes of a YouTube video and then have a discussion. There's some exercises in the disciple maker method that we're going to be doing together, because some of us have to go through forgiveness and repentance. We have to get clear on the old version of us versus the Christ-like version of us. So all of those things are in the disciple maker method, and we will be doing those together as a family and as a community. Okay. So with that, if you are ready, we encourage you to go to christlikechurch.com/disciple. This will let us know that you are committed to this process. You are already a member. Just the fact that you're here, you're already a member. But if you want to commit to elevating and continuing on this trajectory, then just fill out that form. Let us know more about you. Let us know what you've done already, and then we're not going to do this Thursday, because this Thursday is New Year's Day, but we'll start on the 8th, and we'll start disciple study on the 8th of January. Okay.
Yes, y'all. And I'm so excited about our new Thursday study. When we are in position to really learn what the charge was, I know that our fruit is inside of that, right? Because we got all of these traditions and things that we should be doing, but when we study together, we learn together, we get together, we can offer each other more. Like if you've experienced Bible study with us, it's very open, right? So this is where we can really break down together. You guys, Julian, taking notes as he's teaching, right? Because that's how this living word works, right? So we're excited to become members.
You know what, family? It just hit me. We're going to actually have dinner together on Thursday. We want you to come with your dinner. We're going to be breaking bread in two ways. You're going to be eating your dinner, right? I know West Coast is a little bit early, but if you're East Coast, you're going to be eating your dinner. We're going to be breaking the word down, and we're going to be breaking bread.
Breaking bread and bread.
We may even get to a point where we have some recipe books laid out for our Thursday dinner, and we're going to eat together. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that just makes sense, right?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, this is beautiful. You guys, like, again, here we want to. Is this the end for us, right? Is this in?
Yeah, this is the
okay.
end.
Yeah, we just in these quaint environments, right? In these quaint environments, this is where we can really get to know you. You guys, we are your support, right? So we wanna support you. Like, you have our support. Our prayer email is open. You guys, I really sit here and pray for you guys and things like that. So just know that inside of the Christ-like church, you have supports. And when I say doing life together, everything always revolves around spiritually, right? But we're here to support you in what you do. Julian and I have been successful in business a long time, right? So any way that we can serve and support, any ideas that you have, right? You might be serving somewhere and you have ideas that you want to bring to the Christ-like church. We're building this thing together, right? That's why it's very important that for us that our members become disciples so they can go out here and build the kingdom. You guys, everything is inside the kingdom, right? But we have to build this thing, right? So we're open to what you guys have. I see Amanda drop the prayer request right there. Your ideas, drop them right there. And we're just super grateful that you are on the way to become a disciple. And we're grateful to God that we have this vision, and God, it keeps sending people to help us carry this thing out. And so you are a part of that. And that's why I say, like, we might be facilitating this thing, but we're all leading this thing together to bring heaven on earth. You guys know we build the kingdom inside and out, right? So that's very important to us. So just know that you are supported here with this church. We are excited. I'm so excited because I love our Sunday Bible studies, but when we get to see the transformation, like, I get so excited about the things that happen inside of y'all lives, right? I think, like, before we go to sleep or even when I wake up, I'm like, babe, can you believe that they did this, right? So I'm so excited to do life with each of you guys that are on this line. I'm so excited for your yes, saying yes to want to grow, because you guys, I don't want to put any damper on anything, but this thing is hard. Julian said it in service that this is not the easy thing. We could be like other churches and do things that they do, but what I always remind us is that we're doing something that they've never done before. Okay, they might have done it before, but we're bringing it here, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing. So God has trusted us to carry out a mission like this, and we are calling you guys to be disciples, to carry it out with us, and not just be building church members, but building people that want to be and live out a Christ-like life.
Yes, yes, yes. So building the kingdom inside and out. Inside is you becoming a disciple. Outside is when we go and make disciples. So it's all connected. Yes, we will be finishing New 260 Bible study this Friday, the last 6 chapters of Revelation. We had some traveling stuff happen, so I couldn't do that on Friday, but we will complete New 260 this upcoming Friday. All right. So that is the form. It is at thechristlikechurch.com/disciple. If Amanda could post that one more time, and we will see you. We look forward to reading your entries, seeing how much you've already accomplished, and going on this journey with you. And then disciple study will not be this Thursday because that is New Year's, but it will start on January 8th. Okay. Yes. Any questions?
Any questions about becoming a member here at Christ-like Church, on your way to be an amazing disciple of Christ? Any other questions? Some of y'all are members already. So when I see these entries, I know that we have some members already, official disciple people already, people on their mission to become disciples already. So we're grateful for that. Any questions? I don't see any in the chat.
We broke it down. We broke it down. All right,
beautiful.
Cool. I know it's been a long day. We just got back from 16 hours of travel.
Where do we list what we can offer in the community? You can go ahead and send that to contact. Amanda just dropped the email. You can go ahead and email there how you can serve here for our community. Yeah. We are excited, you guys. You have so many skills. Dig deep. You have so many skills that you can do. How to join prayer group.
Do you need prayer or to be on the praying side for others? Marsha, do you need prayer or you want to be one of the prayer warriors?
Yep, go ahead and share that.
Any other questions after Marsha's? All right, we'll wait for her to respond.
Prayers and ideas. Thank you, Amanda.
Can we submit questions later? I don't have any. Yes. Yep. Always at the contact@thechristlikechurch.com. Oh, Marsha wants to be. She ready
Marsha.
To go to war.
Okay. I love that, Marsha. I love that, Marsha. That's beautiful. Go ahead and email me as well, and then I will contact you as well to be on that side. And I love that. Thank you for your service as well.
Yeah. So no, New 260. We're not going to run it back in 2026. That's going to become our Thursday night Bible study. So that's where the energy for New 260 will go to, and then Sisters in the Scriptures, Whitney will send you some updates in terms of how we're going to run that in 2026. So yes, no more New 260 on Fridays. That'll be Thursday night at 7 now. Okay. All right, family. So fill out that form. We love you and thank you, and we will see you. We'll see you next. I'll see some of you Friday. I see most of you Friday because most of y'all are in New 260, and then we'll see you on Sunday.
Are you gonna run those on YouTube this year? Keep them up?
Yeah, they'll still be up.
Yes.
They'll still be up on YouTube.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, beautiful.
All right,
this was beautiful. Thank you guys. I look forward to reading everything.
All right.
And yes, reach out if you need anything and we'll talk to you soon. Yes, Janine.
Hey,
yes.
That's what we do.
This is what we do, right?
Wow.
Okay, you guys. Thank y'all.
Much love. Peace.